Hi there, welcome to Homekeepers, friend. How are you today? Boy, it's a beautiful day in Florida today, and I hope it is wherever you are. We're so glad you're there. Just hang around with us for the next few minutes. You'll be glad you did. And we appreciate all of our viewers, those who've been with us a long time and those brand new ones. You are so welcome. Come right on in, grab yourself a cup of tea, and we will get going. We like to bring you things that are going to strengthen your home and make it better, because overall, it's not a really pretty picture in the homes of America. And our goal is to get people back on that biblical track, because that's the one that works, the one that God designed, the one that God designed you. And so that's what we try to do around here. And we're glad you're here and hope you'll help us do that, you know, within your own life, within your own community, so forth, that you can be that example, that illustration of the way God wants us to live. I have a special guest today. I'm always very appreciative of people who write books. And my guest, Keven Covert, and get this, her name is spelled K-E-V-E, and her husband is also Keven. I can only imagine what that household is like. I just see confusion. Maybe she can explain it to us. But I'm glad she's here. She's written this book, Brick by Brick, and it's a devotional for women who have gone through an abortion. And in the 30 years I've been around interviewing people, I know the backlash and how it bites you, an abortion. And a lot of times people don't know why they're acting as they do and so forth, because they don't connect it to that abortion. But I've got good news for you. God who made you, Jesus who died for you, He forgives. He absolutely forgives. And I want you to hear Keven's story. And with all of these videos that are coming out of selling body parts of babies and crushing and slicing and dicing them so that they can get something intact, this book has arrived just at the right time, because that's going to have a great effect on women who have had an abortion in the past. But God is here to redeem all of it. I want you to meet Keven. This is, I think, a strategic time for this subject. And I'm going to join Stephanie. I think there's no end to what you can do with pasta. I love pasta. And we've got, get this, a bacon and tomato spaghetti today. So we'll just have to show you, and we'll have to see for ourselves if it really tastes good. I will join Stephanie in a minute, but first I want to remind you again that we are viewer-supported. Every once in a while, a wonderful viewer out there will write a good-sized check, because they finally get the real ministry of this program. And so I mentioned on another program, a lot of people have all these good intentions. They intend to get their kids in church, and they intend to do this, intend to do this. I'll bet there's a lot of you who have intended to donate to this program, because it has been a blessing to you and it has been informative to your life. So let this be the day. And if you use your credit card or your debit card, you can call 1-800-229-0059. That number is on your screen. And also there's an address there. If you prefer to write a check, that's Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida, 33758. And thank you seems inadequate, but that's the only way I know to tell you how much we appreciate your faithfulness and your generosity, that we can stay on the air. Now I've joined Sister Steph. How often do you fix pasta at home?
Pretty much every other week I have my dad's pasta. I don't typically.
Oh, you don't, yeah.
No, because my husband doesn't like stuff like this, so I don't typically make it. But, you know, my dad's spaghetti, we make it, you know, every other week.
Well, I don't want that to start to burn, but you mentioned, and she has a Facebook page for the show, and people are really liking what she puts on there, but you put on something this week about a book that just revolutionized your thinking. And isn't it amazing how a book hits you at the right time?
Oh, yeah. My whole intention was just to read a little bit Saturday morning with a cup of coffee. I read the entire book because I could not put it down. It was called For the Love by Jen Hatmaker. Honestly, it just changed my whole thinking.
Well, also it was a time when you needed your thinking changed.
For sure.
So.
Yes, I was feeling a little depressed and like a failure, really, in every
you're
aspect
not a
of
failure,
my life.
my
Oh, well,
friend.
you're sweet.
Well,
Okay.
give them the name again. Because
For the Love by Jen Hatmaker.
For the Love. You can go to Amazon or whatever, but boy, that's why we have authors on a lot. God has a word for the right time.
Yes.
All right, we fried up, she did, a bunch of bacon.
Yes, and then I have some of the grease in here, and I have the bacon that we chopped up, and then I
keep
have
2 tablespoons.
I have grape tomatoes that we've sliced in half that I'm going to put in here and saute up.
And get splattered.
Get splattered a little bit. And then we're going to put in spinach. I'm going to put in balsamic vinegar, salt, pepper, the bacon, pasta, okay, and then we're going to put Parmesan on top. Now that's it, but I think this is going to be super duper tasty.
Do you want me to measure this out?
Or you can just go ahead and put some handfuls in here.
Well,
doesn't
I
have to be
think on this I might measure it a little bit.
Your show, you do what you want.
I think we better. Yeah, here's a cup.
I don't think you can have too much spinach, so.
1. I love spinach. I have it every day.
Yes.
And I'm so glad they triple wash it and get the baby spinach, and it's really nice and crisp. There we go. I'll take this home and eat it.
Okay. You can put that in smoothies.
Yep.
I've been putting kale in my smoothies each morning, and I'm loving it.
Well, I tasted kale once. I thought it was so bitter, but you said you don't taste
Not
it.
in the smoothie. No, because I put blueberries and I put carrots.
Do you want to hear about my smoothie this morning?
Yes, please.
My smoothie, Deanna taught me this one. Frozen peaches, so you don't have to put any ice in it. Bananas, protein, oil, the real good omega-3 oils, and I think that was it. Oh, no, banana that sweetens it up.
Did you say your protein shake?
Yeah, Dr. Young's.
I'm going to do a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. You want to grab the pasta? We'll a little bit of pepper.
Okay, I'm not sure I put all of this in.
No, because that's a ton.
Because we were playing around with this a little bit. Ooh, I think I'm going to like this.
Oh, I think you're going to love it.
It said 8 ounces, so.
Anything pasta, it's going to be delicious.
Think that's about 8 ounces?
Sure.
Okay.
And then I have balsamic vinegar I'm going to put in here. We're just going to heat this all up super duper easy. And I'll tell you, like when my husband goes out of town and goes hunting, this is totally what I would make at home.
Is he going hunting?
Oh, sure, he goes,
Where's he go?
He goes up to North Florida.
Yeah.
There's a hunt club up there.
You know, my husband was from Arkansas, and I was from Colorado. Well, we know what an elk is in Colorado, and we know what a deer is.
Oh, yes.
So in Arkansas, those guys said they're going hunting. They brought this thing about the size of a German Shepherd.
Well, that's how deer are in Florida. You know,
Yeah.
my husband went to Pennsylvania one time, and he got a deer.
Do you cook it and eat it?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yes. We had tons of venison.
Put a lot of that in.
Love it. We had venison steaks and venison sausage and venison hamburger, and oh, yes.
Do you make your own sausage? Like,
well, no, the butcher made it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never tasted much. I never cared much for, because my dad was a pastor in Colorado, and people would bring us, you know, the meat stuff. I would assume you really have to learn how to.
Right. My sister-in-law, I mean, she makes moose. She makes moose burgers and deer and hog and all this stuff, and it's delectable.
And it's much leaner.
Oh, so much, yeah. Okay, ready?
Yeah. Do you know what I'm learning?
What?
This marvelous crew that our people never see. They get the formats a day early, and they look to see what the recipe is and decide whether or not to bring their lunch.
Okay, seriously, it was just Brooke today. It wasn't the whole crew. It was just Brooke.
Yeah, just Brooke.
Because everyone else goes and eats. No.
Let's don't indict everybody.
So I told Brooke that wasn't smart to do, because not everything works out on the show. We've had some.
That's what I'm having for dinner tonight, right there.
Miserably.
That's good. A little bit of bacon. We can throw a little more spinach in there later. Okay? All right.
That is delicious.
If you would like to have, control yourself.
Wow. No.
If you would like to have this recipe, you can write to me or email me, and it's absolutely free. We'll send it right out to you. And thank you for all your nice notes and things you send when you ask for it. We love you for that. Stay with me. I want you to meet Keven, who's married to Keven.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, just write to the address on your screen, or you can email your request to arthelene@rippy.org.
All right, the name of the book is Brick by Brick. It ministers to people who've been involved in abortion, and not just the mothers, and we'll talk about that. And my guest, Keven Covert, wrote this book. Welcome.
Thank you.
Been having fun with your family name there.
I noticed. That's fine.
When you were courting, what was it like for a Keven to be dating a Keven? And
It wasn't boring. It wasn't boring. We enjoyed it. We had fun with it. And a year later, we got married, and the rest is history.
yeah, your friend Arlene is here, and she said, in your house, if you call for Keven, everybody answers.
At least someone will answer you, right?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Well, welcome, and you have a bachelor's degree in psychology.
Yes, ma'am.
And founder of Hearts Restored and Renewed Ministry. You're a certified trained facilitator in post-abortion healing Bible studies and a member of South Florida Post-Abortion Recovery Group. And I wonder how many of our viewers actually realize that there are recovery groups all over the United States, probably beyond, but what the world kind of says, oh, it's just a few cells, just a little tissue, you know. And the fallout is huge.
Very huge. Very huge.
What kind of a growing up experience did you have? You had your mom and dad, and was it Christian upbringing?
To a point. I would go to church every once in a while with my parents. But at 14, I started going to church. I was invited by a schoolmate for about 3 or 4 years, came to the Lord, but fell away for about 12 years. And if I went, it's fine. It was down the street, literally like half a mile down the street from where I lived in Naples, here in Florida. And I went off and on, got involved with the youth group a whole lot, enjoyed it, and had an encounter with the Lord when I accepted Christ.
About how old were you then?
I was 14 and didn't even realize what was going on, but I knew there was something different when I said yes to some questions.
And then your life took a little different turn, and not good.
Not good, not good. I'd been involved with a relationship that got me doing things I normally would not do. I was very naive, very innocent, and I learned a lot real quick in a short time from someone that was older than me.
What do you think is that happens to someone that age, and that they get caught up in things they never intended to, never dreamed that they would?
I think you've got a choice to make. You know, the Lord knows what we're going to be doing. And I had accepted the Lord. But when you're influenced by people around you and you're not quite sure, and you really can't talk to your parents at times, and you don't want to go to them in fear of what they might say, and being very strict, I knew that it was just time to get right with the Lord. And I think that they're lost until the Lord puts someone in their path.
So you could say you were this backslidden.
I was backslidden about 12 years.
During that time, did you meet the man who became your husband?
Yes, I did. I did.
What was the situation like then? Were you both believers?
No, he was raised in the Catholic Church and has walked away, you know, same with me. I walked away from church, and our relationship was not Christ-like. You know, we experienced things together that we probably should not have done. We should have held back. But he is the father of my child, of the choice that I made.
So you became pregnant how much before you got married?
4 months, 5 months before we got married. And
What was it? What went into the decision, since you're that close to getting married, to have an abortion?
for the main fact that I wasn't ready, it wasn't the right time, which is an excuse that many women use. Not the right time, I got too much going on. I was getting ready to graduate college. I was getting married in March, going to graduate college in May.
Yeah, this is inconvenient.
Inconvenient, you know, and I was selfish. It's my choice. You know, I made the choice. Many women are forced, or they're taken there by their parents or their boyfriend or someone. But I had the choice, and I already had my mind made up already when I was 17, when I became involved in a promiscuous relationship. My mind was made up already. I was just going to
That's what you would do.
Yeah, I was just going to abortion. Not even really knowing what it was, what it entailed. And I believe the myth that many of the women are told when they go to the Planned Parenthood. It's just a blob of tissue. It's not really a child. So to me, that's what it was.
Now, was your fiance in on this decision?
He was wanting to be. He wanted to keep the child.
Oh, he did?
He wanted to keep our son. I'm the one that made the decision no. He already knew when the day I found out, the morning I found out, a Sunday morning before we were going to church, that I already made up my mind. And he tried to talk me out of it. I had 3 girlfriends that I went to. They tried to talk me out of it, and some said, whatever you want to do, Kevin. We were in college.
That could set you up for a relationship doomed to fail, but praise God it didn't. You're still married to him.
Still married 31 years later, working on 31 years. And most marriages do end. Most relationships break up. They can't handle it. It's just so traumatic. But the Lord allowed me, by making that decision, he already knew I was going to make the decision I made, allowed me to go a route. Normally you will go into depression or go into denial. And I went into denial. The moment that I became pregnant, the denial was there. I already built the wall, began to build the wall.
When did that bite you?
I realized it was denial later on in life. After I had my 3 girls, I have 3 blessings.
And that's when it bothered you?
It began to bother me a little bit because situations in church would come up, or the walk where you stand in front of the road, you hold the sign, and I'm back there, come on, Mom, come on, let's go. And I'm like, I'm not worthy to go. You have no idea. They didn't know the time.
At what point then, somewhere there, you came back to the Lord?
I came back to the Lord in 1990.
You were married?
We're married.
And he came with you?
He came with me. I was backslidden.
Did he ever show any resentment through those years because?
Never. Never. We never talked about it, which is normally what happens. You don't talk about it.
Put it under the rug.
Put it under the rug and just keep on going with life. You're supposed to. It's just an instant. You took care of it and you keep on going. Never resentment. We never talked about it. I am blessed. I have a husband who supports me.
I'd say with her.
Very supportive, very loving, and he'll talk. You know, he knew that I needed healing when it was time.
Was there a moment, I mean, it bothered you to go on the walk and all these things, and you would hear things. Was there a moment that it was crushing and you knew that you really needed healing?
I kind of ignored it. The Lord would try to get my attention, and I ignored it. It was in 2012 that the Lord called me. I was actually at the gym working out with my daughter. And she's like, Mom, the Lord been talking to you? I said, yeah. She goes, come on, let's go home. So we went home, and I shared with her what the Lord had called me into. And he told me, he goes, I want you to we'll look into abortion to help women heal. And I'm like, what? I haven't even been through healing. What you talking about? I don't know anything about this. This nothing. You know, the denial was there. Well, April, 2 months later, in April, he had different plans. I went to a conference, saw shoes that Rebecca Porter puts out, which is a cry.
Oh, she's been on the show.
Rebecca, okay. So I saw these little shoes. I was put with the ministry that's involved with the healing down in Fort Lauderdale, went through their 12-week program, and at the end of that, I'm like, okay, there's a purpose and a passion here. Ran into Arlene, we became friends, and July 31st, 2013, the Lord called me to write this book.
Did you meet Rebecca?
I haven't met Rebecca.
Oh, okay.
I have someone that works alongside of her with her ministry, and yet had the pleasure
She's been on here with her shoes. She's been, but I'll tell you what freaked her out. She didn't know the Lord from anything, and she'd had abortions before. You know, some women, it's birth control.
That's basically what it would have been for me. That my mind, was, like you said, when was your mind made up? My mind was made up at 17 when I started becoming promiscuous.
Yeah, in case
something
happens, yeah.
Not knowing what was involved.
But the last time she's having an abortion, and this nurse says, oh, it's twins. And she freaked out. And the Lord is using her in a mighty way around the world.
Yes. He is.
You know,
Mighty
God
man.
can redeem the worst moments of our lives and the worst decisions. And here's Exhibit A, right here. And let me mention again the book Brick by Brick. And I believe we do have a website. We do have a website. We'll put that up. We're going to leave it up the rest of the show, and you can get the book through there. Perhaps you don't need this book. You might think. It's a devotional for those who've had an abortion, but you know women who have, and you know women who suffer, and this would be a great, great gift for them, because it's just like the Lord to take a situation, turn it around, and use it for His glory. You know, Kevin, one thing I've noticed through the years, that women can easily buy the lie.
Yes.
It's just a blob of tissue and blah, blah, and it'll be over. You'll go on with your life and all that. And they don't know the Lord. They don't know how He works. They don't know any of that. They just believed it. But then years later, they put it together. Oh, that's the reason my marriage failed. That's the reason I'm depressed. That
Yes.
it really comes back to bite you, doesn't it?
It does. Earlier when you said there's issues that we didn't realize are attached to the abortion, issues of control. You know, the depression, overprotective of our kids. And I've gone through all three of those things and more. And when you realize that there's a root to all of this, and you need to get to the root of your pain, but in the process of pulling out that root, you've got all these layers and things that you need to deal with in order to get to the main reason of what caused it and why you made that choice.
Did you tell your daughters?
I do. I told my daughters when they
What
were
was
16.
that like?
My oldest one I told at 14. The Lord just happened to work things out that weekend. We go away for a special weekend when they're 12 and 16. And when my daughter was 16, we went to Key West. That's where she chose to go. The Lord had already told her. She read The Atonement Child by Francis Rivers. And the Lord spoke to her. This is the secret that your mom's going to tell you when you go your 16th. So she was already prepared, started praying for me the moment that I shared that with her at 16. So she prayed for 7 years before I had my healing. And my youngest, who's in the ministry full-time and is ordained, she had a kind of a hard time with it a little bit, but she's all right. She understood. They've gone through they've had to go through healing.
You got to put the
themselves.
light on it. You know, you can't leave things in the dark.
Exactly, because from what the rule is, if you don't tell your children, more than likely they will have an abortion. So I wanted to tell them and be upfront with them, and I truly believe that by me telling my children, it will stop them from having had an abortion. Because
I would think so.
Because they know it's too close to home.
Well, also, they know that you've had the agony. You've explained all that. And you've worked with this for several years now. I'm curious about the boyfriends, the husbands, the parents. God help the parents. What are you thinking? The enablers.
Yes.
Do they come to these meetings as well?
The ones that I have gone through, no, is specifically for, I went through Forgiven and Set Free, which is by Linda Cochran. I teach and I facilitate Surrendering the Secret by Pat Layton.
Yeah, she was here last week.
Right, I saw that she was on her way out the door. And the other one that I've gone through is The Journey by Millie Lace, who has a helpline for women, and it was very instrumental. So I've chosen Surrender the Secret because the church I go to is very diverse, so it gives them some media. Rather than a very strict Bible study, which is intense and an awesome study, very well written. And it gives you an opportunity to deal with it there. But I'm sure that The Journey, which is one that Millie Lace has written, is for that mom, that grandmother, that friend, someone who wants to feel. And that's why I know the Lord wrote the book the way He did. It's for someone who can read it, hasn't gone through that, but can experience and feel what they've been through.
And the timing on your book almost leaves me breathless, because if you're a news junkie like I am, you've seen these horrendous videos. Planned Parenthood, I have contacted my representatives and said, don't give any of my tax money to this demonic group.
I made the same phone call. I called when I got the phone number, also the 202 number.
Yeah, Christians need to know they're still part of We the People.
Yes, exactly.
And why tax dollars? There's plenty of good places if you want to put money that helps women. There's plenty of good places. Doesn't have to be there. And I'm sure most people know what I'm talking about with these undercover videos. How did it affect you when you saw them? Because you're set free and you're healed, and are you able to just say thank you, Jesus?
Yes, I watched one actually last night with my husband. He did not want me to see the video part, but I've seen things through YouTube and things like that, which I respect that. He was concerned for me. And
I like your husband. I haven't met him.
he's an awesome man, very much so. The crazy thing is I just did an intake from my next group, Surrendering the Secret, coming up in the fall. And this lady contacted me, was put in touch with me because of all the videos that have been coming up. So my heart right now goes out to all the women that haven't received healing and are watching these videos. There is hope, and there is healing hope after an abortion. And these are stirring up feelings I think they haven't dealt with for years, or they're very, very recent.
That would really get your attention. And I've thought of those people, to me, so completely disgusting, sit there and eat a salad and talk about chopping up a baby. And yet the Lord kind of quickened me and said, we need to pray for them. They're soulless, almost no soul.
Right, they're lost,
yeah,
and they don't realize what they're doing. And one day the blinders are going to be taken off their eyes, and they're going to become aware of what exactly they participated in, the same way Abby Johnson was, you know, and the Lord revealed it.
I just want the viewers to know, and of course the percentage of women who have had an abortion affects you different ways, but it's never positive when it's all said and done. Please know that there are ministries out there. I hope you got this website, and that might lead you to hers, but also if you just Google around, you're going to find ministries that will help you. You don't have to stay in depression and stay in a sense of guilt, because Jesus Christ went to the cross for something just like this. And probably the number one problem is I can't forgive myself. I just can't forgive myself. Listen, the cross is enough for you. Your sin isn't that special. The cross is enough. The blood of Christ is enough. And you appropriate that and go ahead and have a life that's free from guilt and shame, because that's what He wants you to have. Will you do that? Please join me next time, remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.